so today I'm going to be showing you a really quick cut. This right here was previously cut, but I'm going to cut it again because I've had a few people, you know, reaching out and they want to see me cut a bob. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut this just a little bit shorter and basically going through the same bob cutting techniques that I usually do. This is a angled bob. It dips down on one side, and I'm actually going to go shorter on the other side. I'm going to attach it as well. It's a HD lace, so you'll get to see that, and I'm going to layer it. So some people was asking about layers, so I am going to do that as well. Okay, so this was, like I said, it was already previously cut. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it shorter, mainly on this side. I want it a little shorter, and I'm going to create more layers. So I'm going to do this haircut, even though it's already cut, I'm just going to go shorter, and I'm going to go through the same routine. What I want to do is I want to start in the back. So I'm going to part off my first section in the back, in that nape area. On this cut, I am going to cut it wet. Alright, so I'm starting at the bottom. You want to always make sure that the head is straight. Make sure that you have the wig on properly. So I'm probably going to have to kind of bend down. But the main thing is to make sure that this is going to be straight. So I'm going to go shorter. And I want to start it about here. And I'm still going to angle it down. I'm going to leave the length over here. But I want to angle to it. And I'm going to start it about here. So this will be my starting point, and I'll angle from there. All right, I already cut my guide. I'm going to make sure that I go on both sides. I'm going to start in the middle back. I'm going to cut all the way over to that left-hand side, making sure that I'm keeping the hair straight. I'm actually pulling that front towards the back so it can angle just a little bit. And I'm point cutting it from left to right. If you have a few hairs that are just hanging, go ahead and get them. Go ahead and make sure it's even. But I always like to start in the middle. If you've seen any of my other haircuts, I like to start in the middle so that I can use that as my guide. So remember, I want to keep the length, okay? And if you notice, I want to keep the length here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle here, from here to this point with my shears I'm going to cut. And that's at a 45. So you want to slant your fingers at a 45 until you get to the end point. And clean up anything that you see that's not straight. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead from this middle portion. I'm going to bring hair down, and I'm just going to match it with what I already cut. remember, we're cutting it at 0 elevation first, meaning we're bringing all of the hair down and matching it with what we cut in the beginning as our guide. If you cannot see your guide, then you're going to have to part some of the hair out of the way like you see me doing here so that I can see my guide and I can continue my haircut. Looks right beats. We're gonna do the layers. All right, so when you trying to start your layers, a lot of people are like, well, where do I start? Where do I go? So first you have to look at the hair, because I mainly want a lot of layers over here. You got to say, hey, where do I want the layers to start? Do I want them to start here? And if that's the case, you're gonna take a piece and you're gonna cut it. Okay? That's gonna be your guide. And then you're gonna stand it straight up. And you're gonna pull everything up to it. All right, so I'm gonna hold it out at 45 degrees because I want to blend that down with the sides. So I'll do the top straight up at 90 degrees. Once I get to the sides, I'm gonna angle it at 45. Looks right beats. When you pull it out at 45 right here, it's going to help everything blend, make it make sense. It's going to have a really, really nice shape when you do it like that. So you can go in. I'm actually slither cutting it when I do that. I'm just going against the grain of the hair and blending everything from that 45 all the way down into the area that I had cut at 0 elevation. Okay, so I'm going to take my pressing comb and I am going to iron out the edges. This really makes it look nice. Something I just started doing. I've been seeing a lot of people do it and it really looks good. So I'm just going to flatten mine out. Alright, so now it's time to style it. I'm going to start in the back and I'm just going to do some basic barrel curls. If you want to, you could roll this with rollers, but I didn't want to deal with any roller lines. It lasts longer when you do rollers. I'm just going to do some really, really tight on base curls using my curling iron to give that roller effect.
murder in the beat. Where your murder in the beat. Where your murder in the beat. I used to live my life. Where your murder in the beat.
Okay, so now I'm going to clean my skin with 91% alcohol. And I'm going to go in with my Skin Protect. Next, I'm going to use my Bowl Hole Glider. And I'm going to make sure that I get the glue very, very thin. I'm going to do several layers. After that first layer, I'm going to use my Bowl Hole Lace Tape. Make sure that I cut it in the proper place. You can see that line there. I'm going to cut it across the line, not with the line. And you'll see I still have that line there. I'm going to use these in the corners. The corners are the most areas that lift. So I want to get an extra hole there. I'm going to remove it from the slit in the middle. And I'm going to apply an additional coat of glue on top of the tape. And I'll do several layers, maybe up to 3 layers. Now we can apply our lace. I want to try to make sure that I cover the glue because I don't want to leave anything exposed. If you leave anything exposed, then you will have a glue or a gummy hairline. So if you do, you can always clean it up. Sometimes I draw mine out. Sometimes I just kind of wing it. And here you can see I'm just winging it. I have other videos where I did draw it out using a white eyeliner. Okay, I did leave some exposed, but this is a good learning opportunity so I can show you what to do. I'm using the corner of my towel and I'm using the alcohol, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to remove that excess glue that's in front of my lace, trying not to touch my lace. Now I'm going to use the end of a rat tail comb because I do have some areas that did not get covered. Now you want to make sure you keep your containers wiped off. And you notice I turned it upside down. I didn't want anything to get inside of my glue. But keeping it clean is super important so it doesn't get clogged up. Now I'm just going along the hairline and I am making sure I got every little part of the lace covered. It really takes time. A lot of people don't realize you really need to take your time when you're doing lace. It's not a rush situation. The more you take your time, the better the outcome. So now I can go ahead and I can remove my clips and comb out my curls so that I can fluff it for my end result. Okay, so I'm going to cut me just some slight baby hair, not much. And when I cut my baby hair, I like to cut it really, really short. I'm using a razor. Really short and thin. That's how I prefer mine. I'm using some of our gel, which will be released really soon. All I'm doing, I'm taking the gel and I'm molding it. Most times once I mold it, I like to let it dry. I'll cover it with my scarf, my bowl hold scarf, and then I'll let it dry. If you notice, I am using a barber comb. I like using my barber comb because it has the little thin end, so I can smooth those hairs out really well. Sometimes the hairs are really stubborn and I'm trying to get them thin, so I'll go back in and tweeze it just a little bit just to make sure I don't have clumps of hair, and I want it to be spread even. Now I'm going to do my sideburns. A lot of times when it comes to baby hair, it's just at your own discretion. You know, I really don't wear a lot of baby hair, but that is the trend, and a lot of people do like it. So I'm just doing just a little bit. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe below.